If you're new to Rainbow Six Siege and you've been kind of struggling to adapt and get used to the game, this video is for you because I'm going to be giving you tips on how you can improve on basically everything that is important in Rainbow Six Siege. Now, if that sounds like something you need, make sure you watch to the end of this video because everything I talk about in this video I would deem as very, very important. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is operators, because operators in Siege are actually a pretty big part. It determines, the type of role you're going to be playing, the type of play style you need to be playing. And as you can see, there is a lot of operators to choose from, so it can feel overwhelming to anyone who is new to the game. The two tips I can give to you is one, keep it simple, play simple operators that you find easy to play and operators you feel comfortable playing. For example, on defense, I could recommend simple operators like Sentry, for example, like you can see on screen here. We also have Doc and Rook. Both of these two operators are very beginner friendly, and I'd also recommend Capcan because Capcan's an operator that you can put down your gadgets in random doorways, you can get free kills off them, and you don't really have to think about it after you've placed them. Now, as for attackers, it does get a little bit harder, in my opinion, for an attacker because they really do have certain roles. But what I would do is just keep it simple. Play as an operator like Striker, for example. You can play a simple soft breacher like Sledge or Ash, and with these simple attackers and defenders, you will be able to pick these operators up much quicker. Now, on top of this, I wouldn't really recommend picking more than, say, 2 operators on defense and 2 operators on attack. Just pick 1 or 2 operators on each team, play them every single round until you feel like you've mastered that operator. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is how you can learn the maps in Rainbow Six Siege really quickly, and there's 2 methods on doing this. The way to get basic map knowledge and kind of understand the layouts of maps is by going to the playlist, going to training, and clicking on landmark drill. From here, you can select whichever map you want to learn in the game. I'd recommend the ones that are actually in ranked. So as you guys can see, you can filter it by ranked maps. These are the ones that you're going to be primarily playing. Now, once you've selected your map and loaded in, what the landmark drill is as you can see above me right now, it will give you a random area of the map, and essentially you have to go to that location on the map. You got to press a button on one of the tablets that emit a little noise, and then it will give you a new location to go and find. So for example, because I already know the basic layout of the map, I know that this is the Arsenal room, which is in the basement. So I'm going to run down there, I'm going to find this part of the map, and as you guys can hear this little tablet here. Just like that. All you got to do is go up to it, deactivate it, and it will give you a brand new room for you to go find, locate. And what this does is it connects those rooms in your head. It gives you a really quick understanding of how to get to certain rooms from other areas of the map, and it really helps you piece together all the different bomb sites and rooms that you'll be familiar with. Now, to take this one step further, the next thing you can do, if you already have like a pretty basic knowledge of a map, for example, this is Chalet, and if you want to learn the map a little bit more in depth, what I would recommend is coming into a custom game, just like I am here, spawning in as an attacker, and then picking Sledge. And then what you can do is you can take your time, go into the bomb site, and just go around destroying all the soft surfaces, all the hatches, all the walls, all the floors, and just seeing where all the soft walls lead to, basically. So for example, I am upstairs here in library. I'm going to destroy the soft floor here, and then I can see where this actually leads to. I'm going to go up to this window, and I can see here that this is actually the room that they like to play in. So I know if there's ever like a mirror in this room and they've kind of opened up half of the wall, if I put a hole up in the ceiling here and play vertically, I can put pressure on them. And for example, you can also go around opening up all the hatches, you can drop down, you can see which rooms lead to what, that kind of thing. You can open up soft walls and see which rooms are behind which other rooms, stuff like that. And one thing I like to do is actually opening up walls and seeing what angles you can create. So for example, I know that this is actually a bomb site that can be on the Chalet. So if I open up this soft wall, for example, I can tell now that I can get a really long long angle onto this doorway. I can take it one step further and open up this soft wall, and I can see there's an even longer angle to be made here. And I can open up this one and be like, oh, okay, so if I know that this is open and there's pressure here, I can always open up this soft wall and come through this way, and then I know where it leads to. And similarly, you can do the same thing for floors. So for example, this actually leads down into basement. And I know for a fact, if you put like a fuse charge right here on this piece of soft floor, you will be able to put pressure on anyone trying to bandit trick or keep this wall denied. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is your aim, your recoil, how to control recoil, how to control your aim, that kind of thing, how to find your perfect sensitivity, and all of that takes place right here in the shooting range. So again, if you load yourself into the shooting range, there is multiple things that you can do in here that are really, really beneficial to you as a beginner player. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to load in as an operator that you're trying to play consistently. For example, I recommended Ash earlier on in the video, but her weapon, the R4C, is quite popular, but it does actually have quite a lot of kick. So the first thing you can do is come to this first section, just test what the recoil pattern is in general. So as you can see, if I don't try and control it, it goes up and to the right, and it does go up and to the right quite quickly. So I can then try and learn the recoil pattern and learn how to control it. Now you can do this on console as well. I am not actually a PC player, so my aim control on PC is actually quite bad. But as you can see, you can even look here, you can clear it if you want to just see what your controlled recoil is like. And this way you can learn how to control those recoil patterns. Now you can take it one step further and move on to zone 2, where you can test the damage and stuff on operators. But my favorite section here is this end one, and this is essentially aim labs. Now if you haven't heard of aim labs before, that's fine. Essentially what it is a little aim trainer that you can do. So you can set up these little test dummies just like this, or what you can do is actually change it to these balls. Now the balls is what I would recommend because it really does help you train your aim. And as you guys can see, what you can do is you can use this to kind of flick between different targets and kind of practice flicking between little different objects. As you can see, my aim on PC is absolutely terrible. I'm very washed, but that's what I mean. If I kept doing this, eventually you'll get used to not only your aim in game and how to control the recoil. Now it's not only controlling recoil and just improving your aim in general that this is useful for, but it's also really useful for perfecting your sensitivity. Now if you are someone who struggles with sensitivity, or you're trying to up your sensitivity or turn it down, for example, it can feel very strange at first. But if you keep doing this with the new sensitivity, what I said earlier with the tracking, just track one of these balls back and forth just like this. Try and keep your mouse on it for as long as you can, just like this. And as I said, you can also try flick between them. It's just a great way to test out new sensitivities. Obviously try and improve like your tracking, for example, and then just recoil control in general while shooting at a target. So with the operators out of the way, with maps out of the way, and now with your aim out of the way, let's have a look at some settings that I would recommend any new player change. Now the first thing I would recommend is go into your settings, go into HUD, and the first thing I would change is putting your compass appearance on simplified. I'll put both options on screen now of what they look like. In my opinion, simplified is one, a lot smaller, so it doesn't take up a lot of your screen, but it also looks so much better. The next thing I do is come over here to accessibility settings. In here you have a bunch of settings that really do help you. The first thing I do is turn screen shake intensity off. Now by default, when an explosion goes off, your screen gets shaken to the point where you can't even see what you're looking at. If you turn this to medium, it is a little bit better. If you want a little bit of immersion and you don't care about your aim or anything, leave it on medium. But turning this off completely means when an explosion goes off near you, you will have no screen shake at all, which means you can focus on returning fire and basically being able to fight back during a gunfight. Now as you can see underneath this, the next thing you're going to want to do is turn motion blur off. If you have motion blur on, you're just not going to be able to see things when looking around. And then in terms of the tinnitus, SFX, and dynamic range, these are your audio settings. And with CJX, audio has been very hit or miss for a lot of players. Now what I would recommend is a high dynamic range with the tinnitus, SFX on wave. Now with that being said, let's just go over some general advice for you guys now. The first thing that I've written down is don't sprint everywhere, especially when you're playing on defense. When you're playing on defense, time's in your favor. The attackers have to come to you. They have to push your bomb site. So what I would do is just find an area of the map, play slowly, think about what you're doing. Don't sprint anywhere, especially on defense, because you really don't have to. And the only time you really want to be sprinting on attack is when you're sprinting to the map, like when you first spawn in. Once you enter, you don't really want to be sprinting. Or if you're running out of time, say there's 30 seconds left on the clock, then you can sprint to the objective or sprint to find that last enemy. Other than that, you don't really want to be sprinting anywhere. My next general tip for anyone playing is just to keep your reticle / crosshairs at head height. If you come around the corner and your sights are already up at head height, you're just going to be able to hit headshots a lot more consistently. And obviously in Siege, you have a one-hit headshot mechanic. So hitting headshots can be the difference between winning and losing a gunfight, which can be the difference between winning and losing a round, which could actually be the difference between winning and losing a game. So the best chance you have of hitting a headshot is by already keeping your crosshairs at head height. Now obviously, being new to the game, it is important to also try and play with friends. Siege can be a very depressing game, I'm not gonna lie, especially if you're playing solo queue. So get your friends in here, get some, you know, people to play with, because having someone else to play with you, it gives you that motivation to keep going, to keep grinding, and to keep having fun. But with that being said, that is the end of this video. Hopefully everything I talked about helped you out. If you guys enjoyed it, if you found any of the tips useful, hit that like button. I'll leave a video on screen now. I'll do like an operator tier list or something on screen now, so that you guys know who is meta this season. I recommend you go watch that. Let me know in the comments if you improve.